Okay, I'm back. Plus, my doctor told me that I should get up at least every hour and walk out and see if anyone brought any cookies. So that's important too, but sitting in this chair hour after hour is not great for my back. So I did take a walk, but nobody brought any cookies. Anyway, it is 9:29. We'll wait one more minute.
Well, my daughter's currently making a birthday cake, so maybe we could save you a piece.
Okay, okay. We'll hope for the best.
You got to be careful. That could be considered a bribe.
Yes, all right. I better just let it go then. It's not my birthday. All right, it is 9:30. This is Roxanne Lewis versus Anthony Zambrano. This is a property in White Pigeon. And they were personally served. Who did you buy this property from?
Rodney Chupp and Lauren Miller.
Okay, it was one of theirs. I thought they may have bought it from, well, all right. So it's a month-to-month tenancy. This is filed as a termination of tenancy. Is he still there?
Yeah.
Did you inherit him from Mr.
Yes.
Chubb?
This is the last one that we had from them.
I'm gonna let the clock tick just a minute or two. People often show up late, although we try to start right on the tick. Let's see if he's here. Good morning. I'm looking for Anthony Zambrano. You're out there by yourself? Okay, thank you. Bye. No one is there for landlord tenant. We can hear some banging upstairs. They're, I think, dismantling all that equipment. Meg, I don't know if we discussed this when we had a flood over the weekend up on the second floor, and it was an absolute mess up there. Mr. Zambrano was not in our jail, if that helps. So they had fans and dryers and blowers and plastic, and it was a big mess. They were supposed to try to go back to real court today.
Yeah, that sounds quite unpleasant, especially up there.
Yes. Well, for what it's worth, Mr. Zambrano also owes me money on a couple of different cases. But he's not in custody and there's no warrant for him and he's not here. So let's see if I have a judgment. I don't, but I'll get one. I'd like to do this right now, so I'll ask Lisa to prepare a judgment. Defendant has 10 days from today to move out. Are you gonna ask for a default,
No,
Ms. Lewis? What?
no.
All right, you want me to continue this for 7 days?
Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry. I thought you meant for money judgment.
No, but for possession, if he doesn't, here he is, late to the party, just like we were fearful.
Defendant in the 930 case is trying to zoom in right now.
I think he has.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Zambrano, can you hear me? Oh, here we go. I've also got Samsung SM. Who am I speaking with?
Lindsay,
All right.
Who is Lindsay?
Lindsay Guy.
Guy. She's in the next case.
Oh, okay.
And now we've lost Mr. Zambrano. Mr. Zambrano, can you hear
I can
me?
hear you now. I couldn't hear it first. I had to swap this little thing out of unmute real quick. But can you hear
Can
me?
you turn your camera back on?
I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I'm not too familiar with Zoom here.
Well,
but-
yeah, the time to do it is not 1 minute before the hearing starts. You're late and now we're 6 minutes behind schedule and we were about to
Oh, I'm
enter. a
sorry about
default.
that, Your Honor. I'm used to
Okay,
having to wait for a few minutes when I log into these, but
All right, well,
okay.
and we've been sitting here waiting for you, so let's address this.
Wow.
Um,
There you go. Can you see me?
there we go. Yes, very good.
All right.
All right, both Ms. Geib and Mr. Zambrano are tenants here. Both of these are termination of tenancy cases. In each case, your landlord wants you to move. Now, let's see who this is. This is probably Mr. Herman.
Another.
All right. As defendants in a landlord-tenant case, you have the following legal rights. As I mentioned, these are both termination of tenancy matters. As a defendant in a landlord tenancy case, can you hear me, Mr. Zambrano?
Yes, I can.
All right. You have the following legal rights. You have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you. And Meg Bauer from Legal Aid is here with us on the feed. You have a right to a trial by a jury or by the court. If the action is for non-payment of rent, we would take a different course of action. Mr. Zambrano, would you stay in one spot? You're making me dizzy. That's pretty good right there. This is not a non-payment of rent case. It's a termination of tenancy case. If the plaintiff is agreeable, the Citizens Mediation Services, Inc. may be available as a possible source of case resolution. If you do reach an agreement with the plaintiff and a consent judgment is entered by the court, you would waive the rights listed above, but you will have the following additional rights. The judgment may not be enforced until 3 business days have passed. You could move to set aside the judgment within those 3 days if you misunderstood what you consented to or what you were waiving. Your motion to set aside the judgment would be set for a landlord-tenant hearing. However, if the judge does not find in your favor, the original judgment would stand.
No, never.
All right, now.
Yeah. Nope.
All right, Samsung, you got something going on there, TV or radio or something. We'll get with you in a minute.
Oh.
All right, the first one is Mr. Zambrano. And Roxanne Lewis is here on her own behalf, and she wants you to move out. What's your position?
Well, I feel, Your Honor, that, when I had contacted them about doing, these repairs that were obligated as them, as my landlord, it's been stuff that has been messed up, electrical issues in my apartment for over a year. From they let me do an inside grow there, which was inspected by Deputy, I think, Hanson. He came in and looked at everything went, but we had a heat wave and one of my sockets burned up, and I tried to fix it and I couldn't do it. And ever since then, I've told them several times, that I wanted that to be fixed. And then
All right, so have you stopped paying the rent?
Well, I told them I was going to move out, and then something that I had going through for me for a place, it fell through and it didn't happen. I have a felony record from past things, that were 10 and 13 years ago that have been haunting me. And it caused me
Well,
to
you
not
owe
be
me
able to-
some money now on a couple different matters. You have a traffic matter and that MDOP matter that you owe me some money on, but I'd rather at this point you pay. Well, at any rate, you're claiming some sort of retaliatory eviction.
Well, they said that they wanted me to move out in order to do these repairs. And I was like, well, why can't you do them while I'm here? I don't really have anywhere to go. I fell behind a few times on my rent, and they were lenient with me, and they agreed to go ahead and accept the money when I was late several times. And this last time I actually told them I was going to be moving. And like I said, it didn't happen. And I was like, hey, you know what? Some things have happened. I've had a recent child support thing with two other daughters that I have that has been went through, and it caused me to fall behind in my financial thing. And I asked them if they would accept the money. I had $2,100 cash that I was willing to pay when I couldn't get into an apartment complex. I was trying to several different ones. Actually, I filled applications out for, and they denied my money.
All right, well,
And,
once they file a motion to terminate tenancy, they're not supposed to accept your money.
It was
Unless they
before
wanna-
that, Your Honor. It was before
All
that.
right.
Way
All right, well,
before.
they
I
don't-
have all the text logs and everything to prove everything that I
All
say
right,
is
well,
true
so
and factual.
what do you want, sir?
I just want a little bit more time to get out of the place. Like I said, I had told them I already planned to be out of there, and I offered them money when I couldn't get out because I
All right.
had some time that they.
All right, well,
that I
let's
didn't-
continue this to October 20th at
Okay.
10:45. That's next Friday. You can zoom in again. I want you to zoom in on time, not make me sit here and stare at the wall for 6 minutes
Yeah,
while I
sir, I'm
wonder whether
sorry
you
about
show
that.
up
I'm
or
I'm
not.
at my job. I told
Well,
them
and
I'd
I'm
do
all in
the
favor of
repairs.
that. You don't have to miss work, but at least show up on time.
Yes, sir.
10:45, same number, we'll give you a new notice. If you
Okay.
get what you ask for, they get what they would ask for, that would give you until October 30th, until you're subject to being evicted, which would be 17 more days.
Well, there's been a lot of ongoing things with me and these my landlords here, and I've tried to stay humble to them. And they hadn't made any repairs on a garage that they were charging me for over 2 years. And when I finally went out of my pocket to make repairs myself, they didn't even want to reimburse me. And I know I'm reading into
All right,
things.
well, if
looking for
there's
different
money
information.
issues, we can certainly address that. We haven't made any decision yet. Now, under the new rule, the landlords are going to have to explicitly state that the property is habitable and complies with all covenants of habitability, probably including code enforcement. So I'm not sure how that's all going to shake out, but at any rate, if you want to get out of there, this is the time to do it. She's not in this hearing asking for money. She's just asking you to move. So we'll address that further next Friday at 10:45. And you can zoom in from work. You got some unpaid traffic tickets. I don't know if that's affecting your license. You've been
I thought
making
that I paid
payments.
them. It might have been through a different county. I know I had some
Well,
traffic tickets
you made your
damn
last
near
payment in August, so you were
Well,
making
these-
some payments.
I surely will square away on some of them payments today. Sure, I got my paycheck today and everything, and I just I want to stay up to par with everything there, so I'm not being smirked at.
Well, I'm not smirking at you, but
Not you.
all right. Well, anyway, you got a lot on your plate to be sure, but let's address this next Friday. You should continue to see if you can find a place to move to. If we're gonna have issues regarding retaliatory eviction or that sort of thing, we may have to set this for a trial.
Yes, sure.
A representative is here from legal aid if you'd wish to consult with her.
I surely would, I guess, if I need to do that, if it sounds like it may be something that goes into that with.
All right,
To
well, let me
you,
put
Your
you in a
Honor,
breakout room with the attorney from legal aid. Her name is Meg Bauer. And you're gonna click the button that says join.
Just do I click on her picture first?
Well, here it goes.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right,
see it.
Ms. Lewis, we'll address this further next Friday morning. And I see what's been going on with some second landlords is they want to get the properties vacated so they can bring them up to code.
It is, it is up to code. We did have an inspection, so it is up to code. So that's not an issue.
Good. Yeah, in the villages and cities, Three Rivers, Sturgis, White Pigeon, Constantine, they actually have code enforcement. Out in the townships, it's like the Wild West, so we don't know, but it's always reassuring to know that the property at issue complied with all. But according to this new court rule, that alone may not be sufficient, but at any rate, we'll see if he can find a place to go. We'll address it further next Friday at 10:45.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Zambrano, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, get yourself situated. We're gonna address your case.
Let me roll this window up so I can hear better. Tractors and whatnot working. There we go.
Excuse me. All right, this is a return to the matter of Roxanne Lewis versus Anthony Zambrano. This is a property at West Chicago Road in White Pigeon. And it is filed as a termination of tenancy action. The matter was set for the 13th, continued until today. Mr. Zambrano has filed a jury demand, but he hasn't paid the fee, and I have not granted his fee waiver request. So we're not there.
I do still want to do that, Your Honor. I just wasn't able with my work schedule. We've been coming all the way down to like Portage, Gary, Indiana area for our job. And I told my boss several times, we just weren't able to get back in time for me to make it up to the courthouse to file the rest of, or to pay that fee.
Your Honor, what constitutes the stipulations for a jury trial?
Well, anybody could request a jury trial. In fact, the new court rules that take effect on November 6th seem to encourage it. We have not had a landlord-tenant jury trial in St. Joe County in 50 years. Mr. Zambrano doesn't want a jury trial. He wants to delay the proceedings. Mr. Zambrano, you're representing yourself. You don't know the
Actually,
rules of
Your Honor,
evidence.
I would like to actually bring it forth to the jury to let them hear my side and her side so they could, do their jury duty on what they think is, if I'm saying it, what I'm saying with my evidence and everything that I have went through with the landlords at that property is true. And I believe that it is. I believe that I've been neglected. And I believe that out of the neglect, when I finally started saying something to them for the repairs, they started wanting me to move. And I was behind, throughout the 4 years of tenancy that I've been there. I fell behind several times and they worked with me and they told me, as long as the money shows up, we don't care, is were their exact words.
That was not
Well,
our exact
now,
words. And I,
stop. Now they're using the legal process. So what is that defense called?
Are you asking me?
Yes, you don't understand the law. You've not read the Landlord Tenant Relationship Act. You don't understand what a retaliatory eviction is. You don't know the rules of evidence. You don't know the rules of procedure. You don't know how to present evidence. You don't know what the law requires. You just want to show up and tell your side of the story. Well, you can do that in a bench trial before the judge where you don't have to go make an opening statement, pick jurors. You really are way in over your head. Plus, you didn't file a jury demand with your first pleading and you haven't paid the fee. So you're not entitled to a jury trial. You are entitled to a trial, which will be in front of me.
But I still want to do the jury, Your Honor.
But you didn't do it right. So you don't just get to show up and say, hey, I want a jury. You're going to inconvenience 30 of your fellow citizens to have them take the day off work to come in here and hear you try to bumble through a jury trial. So you didn't follow the procedure to request a jury trial, and you're to file it at your first proceeding, which you have not done. So
well, I did actually do that the other day, but you waived the fee and I wasn't able to make the payment right then. And like I was telling you, Your Honor, I haven't been able to get off work to get up there in time enough to pay the fee that you requested, but I did pay for the paperwork. I was told that I was given 14 days to do that. And I kind of just went by that a little bit. And I, told my boss that, that they gave me 14 days. So he wasn't too amped to, rush us along that I could get back in time. I'm not just trying to prolong it out. I truly believe that what.
All right. So what do you think that they need to you get to stay there as a tenant, even though they don't want to have you as a tenant? You just get to stay regardless of whether they wish to have you there or not?
I'm making a counterclaim against what they're saying. I feel that it wasn't fair that they're, booting me out. I don't have anywhere to go. I've tried to find places. Like I was telling you, I have 3 convictions in my past that have prevent me from getting into a lot of places. And I'm kind of just like struggling to find one right now. I have several applications. I'm going even today, if I have time after work, to get a place I found in Union, Michigan. I've got to talk to the woman. I've came across several scams online trying to find places where they're like trying to get me.
Well, let's talk about this. You have a lease that was with her predecessor, Mr. Miller and Mr. Chuck. And it was a year lease from November 1st of 2019 to November 1st of 2020. After that, it became a month-to-month lease. So it was month to month. So they can ask you to move. You're no longer within your lease period. She filed a notice to quit on July 6th, saying, please move within 30 days by August 5th. Which is her right in a month-to-month tenancy. And so you haven't
She filed that. I did pay 1 month after that. Sorry to interrupt you, Your Honor, but I did pay 1 month after that. The months that I actually quit paying because I know I looked into some things since and I didn't do it right. I'm very sorry for that. I should have came up and talked to the courts and tried to put all of the thing. I
All right,
felt that it was
so-
wrong. They were trying to charge me for something like this garage that they have out there that
All right.
they
well,
neglected
let me
repairs
stop
on
you.
for over a year.
So once she files a termination of tenancy action, they can't accept rent. So you've been there in July, August, September, October, about to be November, without paying any rent. And trying to collect the rent from you after they remove you is going to be very difficult because you don't have any money. So right now you get to stay there for free.
Well,
Which is
actually,
a
Your
good
Honor,
deal.
I
Stop,
offered them.
stop interrupting me, Mr. Zambrano. You are not prepared to try a jury trial. You don't know how to conduct yourself in a court hearing. I'm trying to explain the landlord-tenant law to you. They are asking you to move, which is their right on a month-to-month tenancy. They gave you 30 days notice in July. It's still, you're still there. You haven't paid any rent since probably June, and you're complaining about how unfairly you're being treated.
I offered them the money. They
Will
refused
you
the money.
stop?
I had
Will you
2,100 cash.
stop?
I still have money.
Stop.
Broke.
They can't accept money once they file a termination of tenancy action. They don't want your money. They want you to move. And they've followed all the steps to do that. They served a notice to quit. You didn't move. Then they filed this complaint in August to terminate your tenancy. And you haven't moved. They don't want your money. They can't even accept your money. Now, I guess they could, if you came in with $10,000 and said, I want to pay all my rent, they could choose to accept it. But once you file a termination of tenancy action, they're not supposed to take your money. They're asking you to move. She got you as a tenant from the previous landlords. They don't wish to have you as a tenant. Now they can say, I want them to move because we want to refurbish the apartment. I want my kids to move in there. My sister's coming back from California. She needs a place to stay. You don't, your lease is up. You have a month-to-month lease. And so they're not asking you for any money. They're not suing you for money. You haven't filed a counterclaim to ask them for money. And so that's the circumstance.
Legal aid lady, she did advise me that I needed to do the counterclaim, and I am kind of just like stumped to all of the lingo that she told me really quick while I'm sitting here at work trying to rush around and stuff. And I came up and I wanted to talk to her again about filing the counterclaim, but the courts are closed before I can get up there.
Okay. Well, she has dotted her I's and crossed her T's. You haven't filed anything. I do not accept your jury demand because you haven't paid the fee. I didn't do a fee waiver. You're employed and you're living in their house for free and have been for a number of months. I find by hearing that you have 10 days to move by October 30th. 2023, or you're subject to being evicted. You can appeal it by October 30th. No money judgment is entered at this time. You have a month-to-month tenancy. They served a notice to quit on you in July. It's now almost November. You can appeal this if you like.
How do I do that?
You file a written appeal with the court within 10 days. All right. you're free to go.